everybody, today we're going to be talking about color psychology in interior design, and so how we can use color to our advantage as we're designing rooms. So today we're going to be learning about the warm and cool colors and the effects of those warm and cool colors, the psychological effects of various colors and what emotions they draw and how they affect the mood of a room, and then identify ways to use color psychology as you're using it in interior design and thinking about the color choices for a room. So let's start out just talking a little bit about color and helping understand color a little bit more. Color is made when light strikes an object, and that light is then reflected back to your eye. It's the colors that are reflected back to your eye that you see. Color is definitely going to set a mood in a room, so it's something that's going to be a very important decision to make as you're coming up with the color schemes and the design of a room. You have to think about how you want the room to be used and what kind of mood you want it to set, because the colors of the room are definitely going to leave a lasting impression when it comes to looking at the design of the room. It is one of the elements of design. It's actually considered the most important element of design, and that's why we're talking about that separately. Our next unit will be the rest of the elements of design. The psychology of color. Each color is definitely going to give a certain psychological effect. It's going to evoke feelings in people and can definitely be used to your advantage in interior design. Professional interior designers will use color to achieve goals, especially when it comes to business design. If you think about restaurants, the goal of a restaurant is to get people to come in, eat food, maybe eat lots of food, so that they spend more money. Interior designers who design restaurants would know that reds and oranges stimulate appetite, so it would be a good selection for the dining room of a nice restaurant, where you want people to come in and have a good appetite and eat while they're there. The other thing that red does is it sticks out. It's going to grab your attention. So a lot of times advertisers will use that in promotional materials so that you can see their logos really pop out. It also helps as you're driving down the highway that you have these signs with a lot of red or bright colors that are really going to stick out and make you notice them. So if you're hungry, you're like, oh yeah, I need to stop at that restaurant, and it's right there. So it's grabbing your attention to make you stop and spend money there. So let's start with the warm colors. The warm colors are red, yellow, and orange. And they're advancing. That means they're going to stick out. They're going to draw your attention. They're going to feel like they're closer to you. And so with that, it creates a feeling of warmth, since it's associated with fire and the sun and heat. That is going to create a warm feeling in a room. It also creates a feeling of activity and excitement. In the design of a room, since it advances, it's going to stick out and seem closer to you. So it's actually going to make a room feel smaller. So you do have to be careful with the size of the room, that if you have a small room and use warm colors, it can make it feel even smaller. Red is associated with power and danger. It's that warmth of fire. It also has strength that is associated with that color. Love and passion. If you think Valentine's Day, as you walk through the aisle of Valentine's decorations and candies, lots of red because it is associated with love. It's a bold color. It can be very aggressive. It can also be exciting and warm. And a lot of that depends on the shade of the red that you select. It definitely demands attention. That's why you're using it for warning signs, for stop signs, for things that you need to notice. It does increase blood pressure, so you do want to be careful, again, with making sure you select the right shade or tone or tint of that color. And then, like we talked about with restaurants, it can increase your appetite. So it would be a good choice for a dining area if you want people to come in and eat and enjoy dinner. Too much red in a room can be overwhelming. So again, you have to be careful with if you have a real bright red. It can definitely be very overwhelming if it takes up a lot of the wall space of the room. It can also be stressful. But if you add some black or some white and you give it a shade or a tone, or you tone it down a little bit, then it can help to not be quite as overwhelming or stressful. Or adding other colors into your color scheme can also help. Orange is a hopeful color. It's cheerful and warm. It's social. So if you're looking at a room where you want people to come in and visit and stay a while and feel comfortable, orange might be a good color. It's also adventurous. It adds excitement like red, but it's not as aggressive. So it helps you to maybe have that exciting feel to a room, but not have to worry about so much of the aggression and stress that can come with red. It encourages courage. It expresses courage, and it also expresses hospitality. So again, in a room where you want people to come in and feel comfortable and socialize, it could definitely be a good color to choice. You can make a room feel more energetic and friendly when you use orange. So again, all going back to that social aspect of the color orange. It does still stimulate appetite, so it might be a good choice for a restaurant or a dining room. It also stimulates activity, so maybe a game room would also be a good orange might be a good choice. Yellow, another warm color. It tends to be a very friendly color. It's warm, it's happy, it's still associated with like sunlight and warmth and heat. It's also associated with sympathy, prosperity and cowardice and wisdom. So a lot of emotions that go along with yellow. Yellow rooms tend to be cheerful. They're a lighter, airy color, so it can make the room feel a little more open and light. It boosts communication. So again, a room where you want to sit down and have people socialize. It can help people talk and express their emotions and their feelings. In a large amount, though, yellow can be overstimulating, so you do have to be careful to balance it out. All right, so now we're going to switch over to the cool colors. The cool colors are blue, green, and violet, and they're going to create more of a calm, cool, relaxed environment. It's kind of associated more with like water and the coolness of the ocean and things like that. It is receding, so it's going to look like it's farther away. And so if you have a very small room, it can help make it seem larger. It generally tends to, like I said, expand a space. So if you have a small room, a cool color may be a good choice. So let's start with green. Green is associated with nature and life and growth. So if you look at this room in the picture, it definitely, yes, there are the tree outlines and the leaves on the walls, but it definitely feels like a very natural room. It also can be very refreshing. It's a friendly environment to have a green color to your room. It's cool and peaceful. It's also associated with hope and good luck. So again, you're looking at lucky four-leaf clovers and things like that are giving you that green good luck. It's also associated with tranquility and health, but it's also associated with envy. It can improve concentration. So if you're looking at a color for a home office, maybe green might be a good choice. It helps you focus and helps you get attention to what you need to do. It can be relaxing physically and mentally. This picture, it reminds me of being in like a spa, someplace where you can sit and relax and just feel physically and mentally able to be calm and relax in that area. Blue is a cool, soft, quiet kind of a reserved color. It's associated with tranquility and serenity. It can be formal. It is associated with water. This picture, to me, it feels like it would be in a beach house, that you walk out the doors and there's the beach. Whether it is or not, I don't know, but it feels like that water type scenery should be around it. It can be soothing, so kind of, that sitting in the cool, soothing water of the ocean or a pool. It's peaceful. And it's especially peaceful when it's combined with white. So you have that peaceful atmosphere in this room, that you have the white carpet, you have the white of the bed and the furniture, and white in the curtains and on the ceiling. So that really makes this a very peaceful feeling bedroom. It promotes relaxation and calmness and productivity. This really looks like a room where I could lay down and relax and feel the calmness that I might need to be able to go to sleep. Next is violet. Violet is associated with luxury and royalty. It's a very dignified, sophisticated color. It's also associated with wealth. It's dramatic, it can be artistic. So if you're a very artistic person, this might be a good choice for a room where you want to be able to sit down and craft and be artistic and creative. It can also be spiritual and somewhat surprising when you use it. It's uplifting and does encourage creativity. So like I said, maybe an art studio or a place where you want to be able to think of good ideas, maybe another home office type idea. It promotes happiness. Playfulness, again, might depend on the shade or tint of the violet that you're using, and it can help you be more productive. So again, might be a good spot for an art room or a den, or maybe not a den, a art studio. Black is a sophisticated color. It can be kind of mysterious depending on how it's used. It's associated with wisdom, but it's also associated with evil and death. So you do have to be careful with how you use it. Small amounts can make a room feel very elegant, but large amounts can make a room feel very dark and oppressive. This room here, it has a lot to break up that black with the pattern in the wallpaper, the decorations. So it does need something to help break it up. Having some sort of accent color. The white in this really brightens up the room. White is a fresh and peaceful color. It gives a light, airy feeling to a room. It can also feel sterile and clean. This bathroom feels really, really clean. It's also associated with purity. It can be associated with youth and innocence and faith. It can make a room seem crisper and livelier and bring out the brightness of the room. It can make a room feel larger. This is a very large bathroom, but it definitely feels like there's a lot of space to go along with it. Browns consist of a mix of colors, and it doesn't really have a place on the color wheel. If you mix all of the primary colors together, you're going to get brown. It adds a warmth, a depth to the room. It can feel very like a richness. It can also be an earthy feel depending on how it's used. It can make a room feel very rustic. So you have those rooms that feel like they're the outdoorsy or cabin in the woods look to it. Or it can be very sophisticated. I think the one in the picture has more of that sophisticated feel. It can be reassuring and safe. So if you want that safe place to be at home, brown might be a good color. It's also stabilizing. Gray is a mix of black and white. It's going to add a subtle formality to it. It has the crisp, clean feel of white, the sophistication maybe of the black. It's definitely a good background color, especially if you want to use some very intense, bright colors. It helps that you can use those intense colors for your accessories, and then the gray of the walls can help tone those down a little bit so they're not too intense. Too much other gray without other colors or white to help with the overwhelmingness of that gray can start to be a little more depressing or dull. So you want to balance out that gray and have the pop of color or the whites to help brighten it up. Pink is a tint of red. It's kind of considered a color on its own because it's very different from the feel that you would get from red. It's more of a feminine color. It's associated with, a lot of times you think of somebody announces they're having a baby girl, and so the pinks come into play. It's soothing, it can be comforting, it can be a nurturing color, and it's a loving color. Again, another color you're going to see when Valentine's Day comes around and you walk up and down the aisles of the store looking at Valentine's or candies or decorations. A lighter pink is associated with playfulness and sweetness and freshness, kind of that youthful, young color. So just to review, what are the 2 things you learned about color psychology? Think about how they're used and what colors would be good in your room. And then think about what is one thing you still want to learn about color psychology and things that we can continue to think about with different colors. That's just kind of a brief overview. So I hope you learned something and enjoyed the psychological effects of what color does for a room. If you have any questions, please let me know, and have a wonderful day.